Have you ever noticed that the more you chase peace, the faster it runs? You reach for it in plans, in people, in promises of tomorrow. Yet the moment you grasp, it slips through your fingers like mist. And then, strangely, when you stop chasing, when you simply pause, everything you were running after begins to move toward you. It's as if life itself was waiting for you to stop fighting the current, to understand that control doesn't create alignment, stillness does. Most of us spend our lives trying to manage every outcome, pushing, forcing, and worrying our way into exhaustion. We think if we plan enough, we'll finally feel safe. But life doesn't open to force, it opens to flow. The universe doesn't respond to our tension, it mirrors our energy. When your heart is restless, life reflects restlessness. When your mind softens into trust, life begins to unfold in harmony. So what if the turning point isn't found in doing more, but in allowing more? What if letting go isn't about giving up control, but about making space for what's already trying to reach you? There's a quiet moment between effort and ease, a space where life starts to cooperate with you instead of resisting you. It's in that stillness that alignment begins. In this video, we'll explore how letting go doesn't mean losing. It means creating space for arrival. You'll learn how to release the pressure to force outcomes, how to trust life's natural rhythm, and how to recognize the subtle ways the universe moves towards you when you stop pushing against it. Through Buddhist wisdom and practical reflection, you'll discover that what's meant for you doesn't need to be chased. It only needs to be met with stillness. So take a breath and allow this to be your quiet moment of realization. Because when you stop running, you don't fall behind. You finally allow life to catch up with you. Lesson 1. The hidden cost of chasing. There's a kind of exhaustion that doesn't live in your muscles. It lives in your mind. It's the quiet fatigue that comes from constantly reaching, comparing, and trying to prove that you're enough. You wake up with goals to chase and go to sleep with thoughts you can't silence. Every success feels temporary. Every pause feels dangerous. You tell yourself that slowing down means falling behind. But have you noticed that the faster you run, the less you actually arrive anywhere? This is the hidden cost of chasing, the slow erosion of peace. When you live in pursuit, your entire being becomes a net, always trying to catch something, always afraid of losing what it holds. The more you grasp, the more life slips away, not because it's cruel, but because peace cannot breathe inside a clenched fist. You can't catch stillness by movement, and you can't force clarity through noise. It's not wrong to desire. The Buddha never condemned wanting. He only warned against wanting without awareness. Desire itself is a spark. It can warm you or burn you, depending on how you hold it. When you chase from fear of being unseen, unloved, or forgotten, that spark becomes wildfire, consuming your calm. But when desire is guided by stillness, it becomes direction, gentle, luminous, and free. Imagine standing beside a quiet lake under the night sky. The moon's reflection rests perfectly on the water's surface. You long to touch it, so you reach out, splashing the surface, but instantly, the image shatters. The moon is still there, but the water no longer reflects it. You can't catch the reflection of the moon by splashing the water. The calmer the surface, the clearer the image, and so it is with life. The calmer your mind, the clearer it reflects what is truly meant for you. The mind that chases distorts its own vision. It sees opportunities through fear and love through insecurity. But when you become still, not lazy, not indifferent, but inwardly still, life begins to show you what was always meant for you. You stop mistaking movement for progress and noise for meaning. You begin to sense that what belongs to you never needs to be hunted. It simply needs to be recognized when it arrives. So take a breath. Notice where your energy goes when you're constantly chasing. Ask yourself, what would happen if I stopped trying to catch the reflection and instead learned to stay calm enough to see it? Because peace doesn't hide. It waits for stillness to find it. Lesson 2. Trusting the rhythm beyond control. There's a quiet wisdom that life keeps trying to teach us, that we are not meant to command the wind, only to learn how to sail with it. Yet most of us spend our days shouting at the sky, demanding that the wind move in the direction we prefer. We fight the rhythm of what already knows its path, and then we wonder why peace feels so distant. The truth is simple, but rarely accepted. Life moves not by domination, but by direction. Imagine yourself standing on a small boat in the middle of a vast sea. The waves shift beneath you. The wind changes without warning. You can't control where the wind blows, but you can adjust your sail. That single choice, to work with the wind instead of against it, determines whether you drift endlessly or move gracefully forward. This is the art of trust. This is the middle way the Buddha spoke of, the balance between effort and surrender, between doing and allowing. Control gives the illusion of safety, but it drains the soul. It keeps you tense, waiting for the world to obey your timeline. But life has its own rhythm, one that moves through seasons, pauses, and unseen alignments. When you trust that rhythm, your energy shifts from anxiety to awareness. You begin to see that every delay, every redirection, every unexpected turn is part of the wind's mysterious choreography. The more you loosen your grip, the more naturally life begins to carry you where you were meant to go all along. The wise don't fight the wind, they listen to it. They adjust their sails with humility, knowing that force creates friction, but trust creates flow. They understand that peace is not found in trying to control every gust, but in learning to move with grace through change. The same wind that once felt chaotic begins to guide you once you stop resisting its rhythm. Take a moment now and look within. Where in your life are you trying to steer against the wind? Is it a relationship you keep trying to fix, a dream you keep forcing before it's time, or an outcome you can't stop gripping? The more you fight the wind, the less you feel its wisdom. But when you lift your sail in faith, life begins to move again, quietly, naturally, and with purpose. So the next time life changes direction, don't curse the breeze. Adjust your sail. Trust that the wind knows the way, even when you can't see the shore. Because peace doesn't come from controlling the elements. It comes from learning to move in harmony with them. Lesson 3: The sacred power of surrender. Surrender. It's a word that often feels like defeat, as if letting go means giving up, as if trust means doing nothing. But true surrender is not passivity. It is participation without panic. It's not collapsing under life's weight. It's learning how to move with it. Like a dancer who doesn't control the music but still moves in perfect rhythm, surrender is the art of flowing with what is, instead of fighting what should be. The Buddha's wisdom reminds us that clinging is the birthplace of suffering, but surrender is the bridge to freedom. When you let go of resistance, something miraculous happens. Your spirit becomes lighter, your intuition sharper. You begin to sense when to act and when to rest, when to speak, and when silence itself becomes the higher truth. In surrender, life stops feeling like a battlefield and begins to feel like a dance. Think of how much energy is lost in resistance, in replaying what could have been, in trying to control what others think, in pushing against the tides of time. Each struggle tightens the heart, fogs the mind, and deafens the intuition that could have guided you effortlessly through the storm. But the moment you soften, even slightly, life becomes audible again. You start hearing the rhythm beneath the chaos, the gentle pulse of something greater that's been leading you all along. Surrender doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop carrying the illusion that everything depends on your force. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. It's remembering that the same intelligence that moves the stars also moves through you. When you surrender, you align yourself with that intelligence. You begin to see that your task was never to control the music, only to listen closely enough to move in time with it. So ask yourself quietly, Where in your life are you still trying to lead the music instead of dancing with it? What would happen if, just for today, you allowed life to guide your steps? Close your eyes and imagine yourself exhaling everything heavy, every need to manage, to fix, to force. Feel how much lighter you become when you stop demanding and start trusting. Because surrender is not the end of your strength, it's the beginning of your clarity. When you release the need to control the rhythm, you finally feel the beauty of the dance. And in that dance, you discover the most sacred truth. Life has been moving in your favor all along. It was just waiting for you to stop resisting the music. Lesson 4. Love without possession. Most people believe love means holding on, keeping, securing, protecting. But what if real love isn't something to possess at all? What if the more we try to hold it, the more it slips through our fingers? There is a higher kind of love, one that doesn't cling, one that gives without demand, one that feels like freedom instead of fear. The Buddha called it love purified of attachment, love that liberates both the giver and the receiver. Love like the sky. It holds everything, yet clings to nothing. The sky doesn't beg the clouds to stay, nor does it chase the sun when it sets. It simply allows all things to come and go within its vastness, and still remains whole. That is the essence of pure love, to be spacious enough for everything to exist, yet untouched by the need to control it. But most of us have been taught love through fear. We hold because we're afraid to lose. We care because we fear being forgotten. We protect because we fear being replaced. And in that fear, our love turns into attachment. Gentle hands become chains. What we call care often hides a quiet panic. If I let go, will they still love me? But love born from fear is not peace, it's negotiation. It demands constant reassurance, constant proof, constant control. To love freely is to love courageously. To say, I want you to be happy, even if that happiness sometimes moves beyond me. It's to understand that love isn't ownership, it's presence. It's a space where both hearts can breathe. When fear dissolves, love becomes light, soft, steady, and unbreakable. So how do we love without losing ourselves? By realizing that love is not about clinging tighter, it's about opening wider. When you release the urge to control, you discover that what's real never needed your grip to stay. When you stop holding love like a possession, it becomes what it was always meant to be, a sacred connection, not a contract. Imagine loving someone the way the sky loves the birds, offering space to fly, not cages to keep. Imagine loving yourself enough to let life move freely through you without fear of lack or loss. That is the love the awakened ones speak of, the love that heals without needing to hold. So ask yourself with honesty, where in your love have you been holding too tightly? What would it feel like to replace fear with trust, control with compassion? Close your eyes and feel your heart as open space, vast, infinite, sky-like. Everything you love exists within it, free to come and go, yet always held in the calmness of your awareness. This is the quiet secret of love without possession. You don't lose anything by letting go. You simply allow everything beautiful to return in its truest form. And when you love like that, you don't need to chase love anymore, because you become it. Lesson 5. Right effort. Acting without tension. There's a quiet beauty in effort that isn't heavy. The kind of effort that doesn't come from panic or pressure, but from peace. A steady rhythm that moves with life instead of against it. In Buddhism, this is called right effort. The art of doing your part with full presence, yet releasing the need to control what follows. It's not about doing less. It's about doing without strain. Imagine a gardener tending a small patch of soil. She waters the roots, removes the weeds, gives sunlight, and waits. She doesn't tug at the stem, begging it to grow faster. She knows that growth is not forced. It unfolds in its own rhythm. This is the essence of right effort. Care without obsession. Action without anxiety. But many of us have forgotten how to live this way. We've replaced presence with pressure. We wake up already running, trying to prove, to fix, to keep up. Our minds whisper, "If I stop pushing, everything will fall apart." Yet have you noticed that the harder you push, the less alive your actions feel? When your work becomes worry, you lose the peace that gives it meaning. To act without tension is not to stop caring. It's to remember that not every outcome belongs to you. You are responsible for the planting, not the blooming. Your task is to give your best energy to this moment, and then let life take care of the timing. Do with presence, release with trust. This kind of effort feels different, lighter, cleaner, more aligned. When you work with awareness, each task becomes meditation. Each breath becomes progress. You no longer chase success as proof of worth. You let success be the natural reflection of calm intention. Even if the results don't appear immediately, you trust that the soil is working in silence. Ask yourself softly, can I work without worry? Can I act without anxiety? What if peace isn't found after the task is done, but within the doing itself? When you give your full heart to the present moment, you are already complete in that act. The result no longer defines you. The sincerity does. So work gently. Create with love. Tend to your inner garden with patience and care. Because the moment you stop tugging at the roots, everything you've nurtured begins to grow. And when your effort flows from peace instead of pressure, success stops being something you chase. It becomes something that blossoms naturally in your presence. Lesson 6. Stillness as a magnet for alignment. We often mistake stillness for silence, as if being still means doing nothing, achieving nothing, becoming nothing. But real stillness isn't the absence of movement, it's the presence of order. It's when your inner world aligns so precisely that life itself begins to align around you. Stillness is not an escape from life. It's the moment life starts flowing through you in harmony. Think of a compass. When it's shaking, the needle spins aimlessly, unable to find its direction. But the moment it becomes still, it points instantly to true north. The same is true for your mind. When you're restless, overthinking, and anxious, your inner compass loses its accuracy. You mistake noise for guidance and urgency for purpose. But when you grow still, when you stop shaking with fear, doubt, and need, your true direction reveals itself with quiet clarity. This is the secret of stillness. When you stop chasing, you start receiving. The energy you once spent on forcing outcomes becomes available for awareness. You begin to notice the subtle guidance that was always present. The intuition that whispers instead of shouts. The synchronicities that appear when you're calm enough to see them. Life's natural intelligence doesn't speak through noise. It speaks through the spaces between your thoughts. The Buddha often taught that peace is not passive. It's powerful precision. It's the kind of clarity that doesn't need control because it already understands alignment. When you are still, you don't lose momentum. You refine it. You stop scattering your energy on every possibility and start channeling it toward what's truly meant for you. Stillness is not withdrawal. It's returning to the center from which all wise action flows. It's the pause between breaths where life rearranges itself on your behalf. When you live from that space, decisions become effortless, timing becomes graceful, and peace becomes magnetic. So ask yourself gently, when was the last time you allowed yourself to be truly still? Not distracted, not scrolling, not fixing, but simply present. Notice how quickly the world feels clearer when your inner waters settle. Because the moment your mind stops shaking, your compass starts pointing home. Be still long enough to feel that alignment. It's not weakness. It's wisdom. It's the power that doesn't shout, yet moves everything around it. And once you've tasted that kind of stillness, you'll realize you don't need to chase clarity anymore. You only need to stop long enough to let it find you. Lesson 7. the timing of the unseen. We often forget that not all progress is visible. In a world obsessed with results, silence feels like failure and waiting feels like weakness. But the universe has its own rhythm, and it never rushes. The sunrise doesn't hurry even when the sky is dark. It knows that light must emerge at its own pace. You can't pull the dawn closer by worrying through the night. You can only stay open enough to witness its arrival. The same is true for your life. The unseen seasons, the quiet, uncertain, in-between phases, are not empty. They are sacred. While you're waiting, something is forming beneath the surface. While you feel still, roots are deepening, strength is gathering, and clarity is being prepared. What looks like nothing happening is often the universe rearranging everything in your favor, just quietly, beyond your line of sight. But impatience clouds that truth. When we measure time by our ego's clock, every pause feels like punishment. We demand to know when and how, as if the universe owed us a schedule. Yet divine timing is not about delay. It's about readiness. Life doesn't give you what you want when you ask. It gives you what you can hold when you're steady enough to receive it. The waiting isn't the obstacle, it's the training. Think of the night sky just before dawn. It looks darkest not because the sun is gone, but because the light is gathering strength behind the horizon. The same happens within you. Each time you trust the process instead of forcing it, your inner light grows. Each time you choose faith over panic, you build the strength required to stand in what you've been asking for. The unseen work is sacred work. The universe builds in silence so that when the moment arrives, you have the wisdom to recognize it. So when nothing seems to move, don't mistake it for stillness. It's preparation. Don't curse the night for being long. The sunrise is already on its way. Ask yourself softly, can I trust the season I'm in, even when I can't see its purpose yet? What if the pause isn't a delay, but a doorway to my next alignment? Breathe into that question. Let your heart rest in the knowing that you are not forgotten. You are being readied. Because when the time is right, what's meant for you doesn't just arrive. It reveals why the waiting was necessary. So have faith in the timing of the unseen. The sun doesn't rush to prove its light. It simply rises when the world is ready to receive it. And when your time comes, your light will do the same. Lesson 8. Releasing control and opening cooperation. There's a moment in every seeker's journey when exhaustion whispers louder than ambition. When you realize that all your planning, pushing, and trying to control the rhythm of life has left you more tired than fulfilled. That's the moment life invites you into a different kind of strength. Not control, but cooperation. Because peace begins not when you conquer the current, but when you learn how to float with it. Stop trying to push the tide. It doesn't need your effort to rise. The ocean has always known how to return to shore. When you stop fighting its rhythm, you begin to feel the quiet intelligence that's been moving everything all along. This is the essence of cooperation with life, an agreement between your will and the universe's wisdom. You don't abandon effort, you align it. You stop demanding that life follow your plan and start asking how you can move in harmony with its flow. Control is always a conversation with fear, the mind's way of saying, I don't trust what happens if I let go. It's the ego trying to protect itself from uncertainty. But the truth is, the more you grip, the less room you leave for guidance. Life cannot speak when you keep interrupting it with demands. Cooperation, on the other hand, is a dialogue with trust. It's whispering, show me where the current wants to take me, and being humble enough to follow. When you loosen your grip, you don't lose direction. You discover it. You start to notice synchronicities that once felt random, the right word at the right time, the unexpected path that suddenly feels right, the peace that arrives before the outcome does. These are signs that you've stopped shouting over life and started listening to it. Intuition isn't born in control, it blooms in openness. So pause and ask yourself with honesty, where am I still trying to push the tide? What am I afraid to let move on its own? The more you release, the more space you create for divine choreography. The effortless alignment that only appears when you stop interfering. You'll find that life doesn't need your control. It needs your cooperation. To cooperate with the flow is not to surrender your strength. It's to refine it. It's to trust that the same intelligence that turns the tides, blossoms the flowers, and sets the stars in motion also knows how to guide you. You don't have to push the ocean. You only need to learn how to float. And in that floating, you realize something beautiful. Life has been carrying you all along. Lesson 9. The silence between doing and becoming. There is a sacred space in every journey, a quiet, invisible gap between effort and result. It's that strange, uncertain moment when you've given your best, yet nothing seems to move. The world grows still, and you begin to wonder if your actions even mattered. But this space, this pause between what you've done and what will come, is not emptiness. It's the silence where transformation takes root. We're conditioned to believe that progress must always be visible, that growth must announce itself loudly. But real change happens quietly, like dawn unfolding behind closed clouds. The universe has its own pace, and it often hides the miracle until you're ready to see it. The pause is not a punishment, it's preparation. Life is always working, even when it appears still. Think of your heartbeat. Between every beat, there's a pause, a moment of silence so brief you rarely notice it. Yet without that pause, life could not continue. The same principle governs everything meaningful. The pause between breaths sustains your calm. The pause between seasons restores the earth. The pause between effort and outcome renews your spirit. The pause between heartbeats keeps life alive. But we struggle with silence because it exposes our impatience. We fill every quiet moment with worry, scrolling, or self-doubt, as if stillness itself were an enemy. Yet the Buddha taught that wisdom often hides in emptiness. The space you try to escape is often the very place where clarity is waiting. When you've done your part, when the seed is planted, the word is spoken, the effort is complete, let yourself rest in the space that follows. Sit with the silence after doing, and simply breathe instead of filling it. You don't need to plan the next step immediately. You don't need to rush the unfolding. The silence between effort and becoming is life's unseen workshop, where timing, alignment, and unseen support are quietly gathering around your intention. In that pause, you're being refined. The waiting polishes your patience, deepens your trust, and teaches you how to live without anxiety. It reminds you that your value isn't measured by constant motion, but by conscious presence. Every still moment is shaping you into the version of yourself that will be ready when the result finally arrives. So next time you find yourself in the in-between, that silent space where nothing seems to happen, remember this: creation breathes in cycles, not straight lines. Even the heart must rest between beats. Life pauses to gather strength before it moves again. And when it does, it moves with a wisdom and grace you couldn't have planned. Trust the silence. It's not the absence of progress. It's the rhythm of becoming. Lesson 10. Energy over effort. There's a quiet truth that hides beneath all our striving. The universe doesn't respond to force, it responds to frequency. You can chase outcomes, you can push through exhaustion, you can plan and perform and persist, but until your energy aligns with what you seek, nothing truly arrives. In the deepest sense, life isn't listening to your words or your actions. It's listening to your vibration, to the silent tone of your being. You don't attract by pursuit, you attract by presence. Think of a mountain. It never chases the echo, yet every sound returns to it. The mountain stands still, grounded, unmoving, and the world comes back to it again and again. That is the power of aligned energy. What you send out from stillness returns in harmony. What you send out from fear returns as noise. Life is always echoing your inner state. The Buddha often taught that effort without awareness becomes suffering. In the same way, motion without alignment becomes emptiness, a kind of spiritual burnout. You can be endlessly busy and yet feel no movement at all. Because when your actions arise from tension rather than trust, you only push against the current instead of flowing with it. Energy always precedes outcome. Pause and notice. When your heart is calm, your thoughts are clear, and your intentions are kind, life seems to open. Opportunities appear effortlessly, conversations align, timing feels natural. But when you act from anxiety or lack, even simple things become complicated. It's not coincidence, it's coherence. The energy within you organizes the energy around you. Imagine standing on a mountainside and calling out into the valley. The sound of your voice returns exactly as you sent it. If you shout in anger, the echo trembles with anger. If you sing softly, the echo returns in harmony. The universe is that valley, always reflecting, never judging. What you emit, you experience. This is why peace itself is the most magnetic frequency. A peaceful mind doesn't chase, it invites. A peaceful heart doesn't demand, it allows. In stillness, you become a tuning fork for the reality you desire. The more you embody what you seek, the less you need to chase it, because what you are radiating is already calling it home. Buddhist philosophy describes this as right intention, the alignment of mind, word, and deed. When your thoughts are rooted in compassion, your words in honesty, and your actions in mindfulness, your energy becomes whole. And wholeness always attracts wholeness. You don't need to manifest through strain. You manifest through resonance. But alignment requires awareness. You must become honest about what you are broadcasting to the world. Are your goals driven by fear of being left behind or by the quiet joy of growing? Do your words carry peace or pressure? Every emotion, every belief, every thought sends a ripple into the field of life, and the echoes always return. You can't control every event, but you can choose your vibration. That's where your true power lives. When you begin each morning with presence instead of panic, you shift the day before it begins. When you move through challenges with trust instead of tension, you change the entire quality of your experience. The external may take time to reflect it, but the internal transformation is instant. The mountain doesn't rush the echo. It doesn't wonder whether the sound will return. It trusts the natural law. What goes out must come back. The same law guides you. Every calm breath, every kind intention, every quiet act of faith travels outward, invisible but inevitable, until it returns multiplied. That's why the most powerful people in history often moved slowly. They were grounded, deliberate, resonant. Their energy did the work their effort could not. So instead of asking, "What more can I do?" begin asking, "What energy am I doing it with?" Replace the habit of striving with the practice of centering. When the mind wants to rush, slow it down. When the heart wants to grasp, open it wider. Remember that the quality of your being is the foundation of every outcome. Sit quietly for a moment. Feel your breath moving in and out. Without trying to change it, notice how it finds its own rhythm. Balanced, calm, effortless. That's alignment. You're not forcing life, you're cooperating with it. In that state, even your smallest action carries weight because it's infused with clarity. You don't need to shout to be heard by the universe. You only need to resonate. The mountain never moves, yet its echo travels miles. The same is true for you. When your energy rests in peace, your presence speaks louder than your effort ever could. So be still, but alive. Be calm, but intentional. Align before you act. Because the universe doesn't reward the loudest mind, it responds to the most centered one. And when your energy becomes your message, life itself becomes your echo. You've walked through many truths in this journey. The exhaustion of chasing, the peace of surrender, the power of trust, the beauty of alignment. And now, as the final moment arrives, let this one realization rest quietly in your heart. You never needed to chase, only to clear the path within. Everything you have ever longed for, peace, clarity, connection, purpose, was never hiding in the distance. It was waiting behind the noise, behind the fear, behind the need to control. You weren't far from it. You are only running too fast to let it catch you. Life has never been about pursuit. It's always been about presence. The moment you stop trying to make things happen, you create the space for things to unfold. Imagine now that all your desires are small birds circling above you. For years, you've been trying to catch them, reaching, grasping, running beneath their flight. But the harder you chase, the higher they fly. Now, take a slow breath and open your palm. See what happens when you stop running. The birds begin to descend on their own, gently, gracefully, landing in your stillness. Because what belongs to peace can only recognize peace. This is the secret of arrival. It doesn't happen through motion, but through openness. You don't meet life by controlling it. You meet it by clearing space for it. The river doesn't chase the ocean. It simply flows toward what's already waiting. In the same way, everything meant for you is already flowing in your direction. Your task is not to command the current, but to become calm enough to feel it carrying you home. Sit quietly for a moment and sense the rhythm of your breath, the rise and the fall, the coming and going. Each inhale brings what you need. Each exhale releases what no longer serves. This is the same rhythm that moves the tides, that turns the stars, that shapes your destiny. You are part of that rhythm, not separate from it, not forgotten by it. The more still you become, the more clearly you feel its gentle guidance. Let these words rest softly within you. May your patience be strong, your trust gentle, and your stillness radiant. Because when you stop running, life finally recognizes where to find you. If you can remember this, even once a day, your life will begin to change in ways that effort never could. You will no longer wake up chasing the future. You will wake up meeting it. You will no longer fight the moment. You will flow with it. And in that quiet cooperation, peace will stop being something you seek. It will become something you are. So before you leave this space, take one last breath of gratitude for the lessons, for the stillness, for the realization that peace has never been missing, only waiting for you to slow down enough to notice. And if this truth brought calm to your heart, share it with someone still chasing peace. Because the world doesn't need more noise, it needs more reminders of stillness. And every time you choose to live gently, you become that reminder.